So, mods, here we are. Back to being able to actually use them, and they're back to being in development due to the drop of the cease and desist on OpenIV. I think mods are fairly important in modern day gaming, especially with single player games, due to once they're released, that's kind of it. They usually don't really get that much in the way of updates or any kind of texture updates or anything like that. And there are many types of different mods. You can get pretty much anything that someone's thought of. For examples of a couple of mods, if you want drones to hunt you down when you get to 5 stars wanted rating, you can have that. Do you want a rocket car? You can have that. Want to go on an unknown island? You can do that. You can go adventure all you want. And if you want a nuclear railgun, you can also have that. And if you really just want it to rain men, then you can have it rain men. Although my personal preference is to mainly go for texture mods and graphic mods and stuff like that. I just like my game to look really nice and smooth. Although to get back to the main point, you might be wondering why I've even made a video called Why Mods Are Important. And to be completely honest, it really goes back to the difference between GTA 4 and GTA 5. You remember when GTA 4 came out and it was a pretty good story, and then a little bit of time went by and they started releasing paid for DLCs. 2 were released in total with quite a bit of content coming with them. One was The Lost and the Damned and the other one was The Ballad of Gay Tony. And the real difference between GTA 4 and GTA 5 is that we haven't had any offline only DLC, and none of the DLC we have has been translated into offline, so everything is kind of locked into the online, and personally I don't like the online GTA. And there are quite a few number of reasons for this. 1. The loading times are insanely long even if you have an SSD. There are many loading screens even when trying to do something as simple as races or something like a heist, and quite a lot of the time people back in and out of heists unless you're playing as a full party. So playing with heists is kind of annoying with random people because the loading screens are that long it makes you want to kill yourself. One of the other things I don't like about the online is it's basically just deathmatch. There's not really any player interaction unless you have a very lucky time, I guess. On top of that, there are a lot of hackers. And a lot of people on the Steam forums will probably say that hackers are from using mods, and that's a load of shit. And the simple reason for that is OpenIV, which everyone seemed to be claiming before on the Steam forums, at least on one side of the argument, was the main reason there were hackers. Not really. They were the tools for every single mod. So anyone who used them for cheats wasn't really using OpenIV. They were using the tools that OpenIV had given them to then make a different kind of cheat engine. And even if OpenIV's tools weren't available, they would have just found another way. There are alternative cheat engines that don't use OpenIV, so it's not like it was an inevitability that was never going to happen. Now you might be wondering why I've even mentioned the online, and giving you those lists of reasons, it makes you feel that I don't really play online. Correct. And that is why mods are important. Because once you've completed the single player story, and I've completed it a few times now, there needs to be some form of replayability. Correct? And the best way of getting replayability, at least in my eyes, is to give someone a reason to replay it. If you've got a new weapon, if you've got a new car, if you've got new textures, if you've got new clouds, anything, if you add anything like that into a game, it gives you another reason to play it. It's the reason why Oblivion and all those other games like Skyrim get played all the time. I mean, look at San Andreas multiplayer. That's been going for a long time and it still gets updates and still gets regular users because there's reason to play it. I know it's the multiplayer version, but look how old it is and look how people still play it because there's nothing like that at the minute. It is being worked on, don't get me wrong. There is multiplayer platforms for GTA 5 being worked on, but they're very early stages. I mean, look at 5M, 24 players maximum. I think there are some with 32, but that's still not very many. The couple of others that I can think of that I won't name at the minute because some of them are actually changing, they can support up to 500, however the sync is not great, so cars ain't exactly great to drive around in because some people might be invisible. And yeah, basically they're not quite ready, although when they are ready I'll be happily playing them. And to me that's why mods are important, be it single player mods or multiplayer mods. People need a reason to keep playing games, and it's really nice when things like that happen because if you look at stuff like Left 4 Dead, look how many Left 4 Dead 2 mods there are. All these different maps, all these different modes, everything, player skins, gun skins, weapon sounds, light differentiations, like you can have lights that have different shapes on them and stuff. It's just endless mods. Right now I have about 370 hours on GTA 5, and I don't think I would be anywhere near that many unless mods existed. And none of those mods that I've played with have ever requested any money to be used. They've never requested anything from me in terms of information or anything like that. You can just go get it because someone decided, I'm going to make a mod and I don't want anything out of it. You can donate to them, some of them. So don't get me wrong, it's not like they don't get any money. I'm sure they do get some donations, but they don't force you to. I mean, look at the online GTA DLC stuff. It's not interesting at all. It is grind a load of money or pay for a shark card, buy a car, that's it. Or buy a business, or buy one of those stupid armoured truck things, the mobile command unit or whatever the hell it is. I'm sure there's some people that are interested in that kind of stuff, but honestly I don't want to grind to be able to buy one car that I'm going to drive around and then get blown up in because some 12-year-old decides I'm just going to blow up your car because why not? I don't get anything out of it, but I'm just going to do it. If I wanted to play a deathmatch game, I would play a game that has a deathmatch mode. That's just how I play games. That's kind of the whole point. GTA, I would rather have a much more enjoyable experience, which is why the other multiplayer platforms hopefully will give me something. But in terms of GTA 6, I really hope Rockstar changes their ways and stops with the microtransaction stuff and puts a paid DLC on the list. I would happily pay for a paid DLC. Obviously that depends on the quality and content, but I'm sure they do a good job. They did with the Ballad of Gay Tony and, you know, The Lost and the Damned. But just to summarise, I think mods are important because of the change of development in games. A lot of games now don't do any paid offline DLC, it's mainly online DLC, and to be completely honest, I would rather play a decent looking game with a story than a deathmatch online game where you are required to grind for hours or pay with your debit card or credit card to be able to afford the in-game DLC. It just does not make any sense to me. And the mods are basically a way for anybody who doesn't enjoy that sort of thing to be able to put more playability into their single player game. And this is becoming more common, especially with games like Left 4 Dead, Skyrim, Fallout 4, GTA 5. But I'm sure there are a lot of people on the other side of the fence as well who see this as pointless and unnecessary and enjoy the online experience. Each to their own, I guess. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, then give it a dislike. And if you really like me, you can always give me a subscribe. I shall see you for the next video.